Welcome to Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker, Texas Ranger podcast. Welcome back. Normally we'd be recapping and reviewing one of the 200 existing Walker, Texas Ranger episodes randomly selected by Roundhouse Roulette, but we've got an extra special little amuse-bouche for you, if you will. This is a year-end / year-beginning little mailbag / statistical showdown. Our statistical showdowns statistically don't do very well, but we're hoping to change that. And that's why we're doing it again.
What does that even mean, dude?
They're not good.
Thanks, Bob.
No, this whole thing is to justify us charting every roundhouse kick, car chase, explosion, and fight, and our Roundhouse Roulette rating of each episode on our website, roundhouseroulette.com. And we're going to sort through the statistics that we've gathered for the 60-plus episodes we've done thus far, which we do every year. And that's the reason for the season, Evan.
So, those of you who have been around for a while, you're probably familiar with the statistical showdown. But for those of you who are just joining, welcome. And let me apologize in advance. So what kind of news we got going on?
Well, I figured we'd kick things off by looking at the man himself who got dressed up as Santa Claus and did a little Christmas message for all his fans on the Instagram. I mean, that's one fighting Santa, right? Chuck looks pretty spry.
I mean, with that pose, I would be pretty terrified if I were the Christmas tree behind him. It looks within range of a roundhouse kick.
Do you think that he just was like in the forest and he says, "You go," and the tree just walks into his house?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just uproots itself.
It could be the case. But look, that's cool. It's cool to see Chuck in a thing. But, Christmas, New Year's is all done. We got to move past that. And Chuck has given us kind of I want your guys' reaction to this message we got from Chuck here on Instagram. All right, can you guys hear this? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
All right, I got to refresh here. Okay, here we go.
What the hell?
All right, so here is Chuck Norris's, in my opinion, ominous New Year's message. Just to set this up, it's Chuck in a flannel with a lantern walking through the woods as he says this. And Bob and Evan, you haven't seen this yet, right?
No.
Definitely not.
All right, here we go.
Hello, friends. Come on a walk with me this wonderful evening. Well, it seems another year has flown by. I hope 2023 was good to you all. If this year wasn't the best for you, I pray that 2024 will be much better. Life can bring its hardships, but know there's always light at the end of the tunnel. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Stay safe and all the best. Your friend, Chuck Norris.
Okay.
So
Is that like AI or what is that? Is that really his voice?
I don't know. It does sound like an AI.
It really does sound like that.
The message is great. It's a great message. But the music in the background, right? It was like out of some horror movie.
But I could see him kind of sauntering with this lantern. It's very off-putting.
I don't think the music's foreboding. I think it's just some, it's some...
It's like
art
techno music
house
almost. Yeah, it just doesn't. You don't think of that type of music when you think of Chuck Norris, and he's walking through the woods with a lantern at when the sun going down here.
It's spooky for sure.
It's spooky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and he's
weird.
telling us to have a great new year.
Well, I mean, we're going to, right?
I don't know. Watching this video, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a little spooky.
I'm just hoping he doesn't drop the lantern because they make it a point to show all the pine needles on the ground, and he's walking around with an open flame. Like,
I don't know.
Careful.
I think he could talk the flame down. It's Chuck Norris we're talking about here.
Yeah, a sweep kick would.
Oh, yeah. Just,
everything
dude,
out.
he does a roundhouse kick. It would just, you think it would fan the flame, but if he does a reverse roundhouse kick, it would just take the flame out.
now, here's the question. What's he doing out there? I have a guess.
Oh, you think he's looking for his gold coins where he buried them?
Close. I think he's going out to retrieve one of those green buckets full of survival food.
Ooh, maybe, yeah.
Hence
Can
the
it be both?
foreboding music.
Oh,
Right?
but
both.
yeah, but he might also be looking forward to the great taste of said doomsday prep food.
But there's that little bit where he's like looking up and looking really happy. That's because he realized he hung it up in a tree to avoid getting sacked by bears.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So
right.
I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
Well, yeah. Let's just say 2024 is going to be off the hook.
Off the chain.
Indeed.
All right. Well, moving on from that.
Please.
It's been a while since we've been able to record, and we've got kind of a backup of mail in the mailbag. We had an email here from Drew Farmer. What does he say?
Subject line, Code of Silence. He says, hey guys, hope all's well. I'm writing to say I just watched Chuck Norris's classic 1985 film Code of Silence for the first time. Have you guys seen that movie?
I have not seen it.
I'm
It's on
not
our
sure.
list. Yeah.
I'm not sure I've seen it.
Bob, have you seen it?
No.
No.
Well, anyways, he says it's well worth a special film review. Walker, Texas Ranger fans may not realize it, but Code of Silence was actually supposed to be the fourth Dirty Harry film. Watching Code of Silence, I was immediately transported back to the late 80s when I'd stay the night at my cousin's house and he'd want to watch the action films on HBO. Not sure why my uncle and aunt let two 8-year-olds watch films like this. I have to say, Code of Silence holds up to modern films. There's a story, action, and more. I also rewatched Lone Wolf McQuade this week. That's another film that holds up. Let me just say, if I was made in 2023 and Quentin Tarantino's name was thrown on the movie poster, people would rave about it. Keep doing the Lord's work. Drew, hashtag WTR for life.
Amen.
Well, let me just say, I mean, he's got an awesome aunt and uncle to let him watch those awesome movies, huh?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we got to check out Code of Silence. I mean, we've got a slate of films. I think the next one that's in our list of things to do is Invasion USA.
Yeah, we've
which I will
almost
say,
done
I
that,
just picked
yeah.
up a copy of Invasion USA on DVD at a Yankee swap. So
You got served at our family Yankee swap. Somehow Evan got mine. He now has a Chuck Norris day calendar and a copy of Invasion USA that I was hoping would go to someone who doesn't like Chuck Norris and they would be indoctrinated, but it worked out just as well.
indeed. Well, thanks for the recommendation, Drew. Obviously, there's a full life's body of work here in the form of Chuck Norris, and I think we've got a full lifetime of work unpacking that.
Most definitely. And I do agree, Lone Wolf McQuade. Imagine if Quentin Tarantino did a kind of Lone Wolf McQuade style movie, I could totally see it.
I will say, like the scene where he is buried underground alive in his Bronco and then pours beer all over himself after coming to and revs it and blasts it out of the ground. That's so otherworldly that could have come from a Tarantino movie.
I mean, it definitely inspired Kill Bill. We also heard from Jeffrey Hartman. And let me just say, I mean, I feel like he's been digging into Roundhouse Roulette because we've got a few check-ins from him since we last recorded a podcast. So I figured we'd dig into it. He says, Dear Deputy Rangers, I listened to the new pod today, and I have to say I'm pretty disappointed by the Wade Harper plot. It's just not believable. Being a Texas Ranger is a privilege. I realize he was somehow involved in the death of a child, but I feel like that child would not want Wade to resign. It's kind of this, letting the bad guys win. I'm surprised the writers allowed there to be a Ranger character as weak-minded as this. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
It's pretty harsh, but I can see where he's coming from.
I mean, is this really a weak-minded Ranger, or is he just made to look weak-minded because Walker's character is so infallible?
He also says, I also have a fan fiction idea. Perhaps you could pass it along to those who are more creative than me, which I don't know, man. You're thinking these deep thoughts, so I think you're pretty creative yourself, so you might want to get on that. But he said, one of the biggest threats of our time is AI. Does Walker have what it takes to battle AI? I mean, Jeffrey, I'm just going to have to enter this for you here now. Of course he does. It's Walker, okay?
Yeah, he'll find a way.
Walker is superhuman.
Yeah, AI is running on some server farm somewhere. He'll find it and just Roundhouse kick all the computers. Done.
Yeah, that server room's going to go up in flames. AI done.
Yep.
Here's a question. Is Jeffrey Hartman AI?
Oh, I don't know. Jeffrey, you're going to have to prove to us if you're real, because it seems like he might be data mining our Facebook page, because he says, I have another fiction idea. Today, someone posted something about Steven Seagal on the Roundhouse Roulette Facebook page. I saw this comment because I was the one who posted it using a decoy account. What? Okay. All right. I don't know. He might be AI.
Yeah, I think it is AI.
Anyway, I think Walker going head to head with Steven Seagal would be incredible fiction. I mean, I want to see it in real life. I don't want it to be fiction, right?
I like how he says Steve Seagal. You know,
first name basis. And then he goes on to say, okay, that is it for now.
Interesting.
Definitely AI.
He could be.
Yeah, but I don't know if AI would do this, because he then follows it up with a follow-up email.
Oh, jeez.
Deputies, I'm sorry to bother you again. First off, Jeffrey, I would say you're not bothering us because we're talking about you on our podcast. But I think you'll agree that this is urgent. You mentioned Last of a Breed on the pod today. Wayne Perret, LaRue, was in that one. See here. What are we looking
he
at?
sent us a
A screenshot of IMDb.
I mean, any time to bring up Wayne Perret is definitely, it's worth bringing up. But Jeffrey, if we're talking about a specific episode, we can't just say, oh, you go and recap the whole episode when talking about an episode inside another episode. That's like a circular thing that would just make the podcast implode. And, you know, if we just kept talking about it and circling back, the podcast would never end. We'd never get it edited. It would never come out. And we'd never accomplish anything with our lives. And you wouldn't want that for us.
Yeah, the number of actors that have been on multiple Walker episodes playing different characters is pretty high. So, yeah, this is something that we've struggled with the podcast. If you listen to us from the beginning, we dive a lot into people's IMDb's with some of our earlier episodes. I think we've kind of gotten a little bit away from that. We've been called out a bit.
It's a rabbit
as
hole.
well.
It's a rabbit hole, and we get them wrong, and then
we got in trouble for digging in.
Yeah, I mean, suffice it to say, it is fun and kind of cool to see where everyone sort of pops up. But yeah, as Adam said, if we jump down that rabbit hole, we're just
we're not coming back out alive.
No. Oh, okay. Here's another thought on AI. Should we ask AI to write fanfic about Walker fighting AI? And if we did, would AI make AI win?
That's a good question.
I think there's enough out there showing how awesome and invincible Chuck Norris is that AI might have to write itself as a loser in that battle.
I mean, I didn't have this to talk about now, but friend of show Kevin Wallach texted me that he asked AI to write an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. And do you guys want to see what that would look like here? Just a little snippet?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm specifically saying a story about Walker, Texas Ranger battling artificial intelligence.
Okay, well, we'll do that one next, but this is what Kevin had done.
There's nothing specific about Walker, though. It just spit out like 4 paragraphs. Kevin might pay for the better version of ChatGPT.
I don't know what Kevin's out of his mind. His prompt is, write me a new Walker, Texas Ranger episode.
Oh, that's way better. I think he does have he's using ChatGPT, but that looks better than mine.
Yeah, his title is Deadly Rhapsody. So kind of a musical reference. Internal Texas Ranger headquarters, Walker, parentheses Chuck Norris, and his partner, Ranger James Trevette, parentheses Clarence Gilliard. I mean, they've got the actors correct, so I'm picturing it in my head, are going through their recent case files. They stumble upon a particular case involving a series of seemingly unrelated murders with no apparent motive. Walker, played by Bob, with a troubled voice, says,
Trevette, take a look at these cases. Each victim was killed in a different manner, and there's no connection between them.
Trevette, played by Evan, scratching his head.
Yeah, it's like the killer's changing their MO every time. How do we even start to make sense of this? I mean, I can shoot this down immediately.
By the way, I just asked ChatGPT to write a new episode exactly the way Kevin did, And it gave me very similar layout, but totally different content.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mine's called Shadow of Justice. No, Shadows of Justice.
That's way better.
Yeah. Well, no, wait till you see this one. Hold your judgment.
Who's Dr. Montgomery?
I don't know, but someone says, you mean the killer is orchestrating these murders like a deadly symphony? And then I assume they're interviewing Dr. Montgomery, and he goes, exactly. I believe the killer is using music as inspiration for their twisted acts.
Okay. So, well, actually, the bad guy there's name is Evan, so...
Yeah. Walker and Trevette investigate the local music conservatory where all the victims had connections. They meet a brilliant but reclusive music prodigy, Evan Turner, who happens to be a piano virtuoso.
Me too.
Okay, that's
so,
kind of interesting. I mean,
that does not sound like a Walker episode at all. The initial scene, them looking at case files. What? They don't do paperwork. What are we doing here?
Come on.
And then the whole premise is, look at these cases that are completely unrelated and have nothing in common with each other, and there's no connection whatsoever. How do they even know the same person murdered those people? How do they know that those are connected? They said that they're not connected, so they should not be in the same file.
Okay, I don't know. Regardless,
also, they go and ask a doctor for advice.
Yeah, no,
they never talk to experts. They are the experts. AI's got a long way to go.
It does have a long way to go. Does yours about the same quality that you pulled up there, Bob?
Well, it didn't have dialogue, so I just asked. I said, where's the dialogue? And it said, certainly, let's add some dialogue to the script. And it has the same exact thing, but now it has dialogue.
That is crazy.
If you just go back to it and be like, I don't like this. Why is this part doesn't make sense? It'll fix that.
Holy moly. Well, yeah, we're AI Walker might be on the horizon, Jeffrey. Well, Jeffrey wrote us back again, which I don't know. He does have an email footer here that looks legit. So he might not be AI himself, but Evan, what is Jeffrey saying in his last email here?
Jeffrey says, I listened to In the Name of God, the episode, on my drive, and now I'm watching the episode on lunch. The first minute brought me back to an automotive question I had in the 90s, a question that remains unanswered. 45 seconds into the episode, Trevette runs back to the truck to execute his bad idea of driving it into a bunch of rocks. We see the front of the GMC truck, and it has those KC things on it that look like headlights, but clearly can't be headlights because they say KC. What the hell are these things?
I've always wondered that too. And do you guys know what those are? Are those just for like looks or something? What the hell are those things? The KC that you'd see on the rack.
They're either on the front,
truck.
like in between the regular headlights, or they're on the roof rack. I should know that because a lot of kids in my high school had those up in the sticks. But
KC highlights, the original off-road lights.
I'm pretty sure they're just like covers for the lights.
Yeah, because you only want to use them when you're booning out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
They got some serious roof rack lights on their website now. Like, they've definitely rolled with the times here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they are lights. I'm not sure if the KCs light up. Oh, it looks like they do. So keep it cool. Is that what it stands for?
No, that couldn't be what cool. It stands for.
Hopefully that answers your question, Jeffrey. We've got one more email here from Martin Zimmerman in reference to our podcast on the episode A Silent Cry.
Martin writes, does anybody know the song in Season 5, Episode 8, A Silent Cry, which is played in the background of the nightclub from minutes 10 to 11? It must be something about ... in my mind ... end of time. I would be so glad if anyone could help me ...
Well, it sounds like he was really into one of the tunes written for the episode, as we usually get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pulled it up. I tried to Shazam it, and I couldn't find it, but I've got it here. We're going to listen to it and see what we can do. This happens when Trevette and Walker interrogate a club owner.
Oh, the Club Red Jacket.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so that's the music he's talking about at this club. What pop song from the 80s does it remind you of?
Am I to disagree?
Exactly.
It's
Evan?
the chord progression, yeah.
Being damn idiots.
Looking for
Sweet
something.
dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
Exactly.
That's
I mean,
like lawsuit close.
yeah, Martin. This was definitely just made for the episode. There's a lot of like long breaks where they keep the beat going under the dialogue. But if you want that vibe, just listen to the Eurythmics' "Sweet Dreams." That's all you need to listen to, and you'll get a better song too.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about this.
Martin, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This is a blatant "Sweet Dreams" ripoff.
Yeah, kind of surprised that slipped by us. Not gonna lie.
But again, we're going to put it out there. If there are any buddy who's worked on the show that wants to slide us all the background music and sound effects for Walker, Texas Ranger in a Dropbox file, roundhouseroulette@gmail.com. We didn't get it from you.
All right, I'm going to share my screen right now. You guys see that?
Oh, wait. Did you just cyber hack Jeffrey Hartman and you found it?
Yeah.
You found him online? He's not AI?
I mean...
Evan, I was halfway there. I looked up the lawyer firm. I'm actually on the website. I just didn't go into it to see what he looked like.
All right, Jeffrey, we have found you, and you appear to be real. And we appreciate
everyone else appears to be real too, but like AI can make a website pretty quick.
Right, now here's the question. What if you told AI to take the 3 hosts from Roundhouse Roulette, combine them, and then put them in a fancy suit on a lawyer webpage? I'm pretty sure you get Jeffrey Hartman.
Could be, yeah. Not gonna
Wait,
lie.
wow, yeah, Jeffrey, you have the essence of all 3 of us. The only way you're going to be able to prove that you're real is to send us a VHS cassette tape. Okay. Anyway, Jeffrey, thank you for writing in. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. And if you want to send us your thoughts and criticisms, roundhouseroulette@gmail.com. And as you see here, we will talk about them because we are still honored and surprised that you guys listen to us. So thank you so much. But let's get into our statistical review for 2023. We had a kind of an eventful year. We were able to interview a number of people who worked on Walker in some fashion. We had an awesome interview with Ara Tomasian about recoloring Walker and remastering it for HD. So listen to that if you haven't already. That's in our podcast feed. And more recently, the actor Sam Williamson, who acted in really over 4 episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger's various characters. Check that out. That's out there too. We dug into 5 new episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger.
We only did 5.
We only did 5.
How many did we do the first year? We probably
you
did.
scooped me. That was one of our stats.
Well, we had a pretty good reason for that, but we also made contact with Chuck Norris himself this year. Mm-hmm. So those are things we are grateful for heading into the year. But man, we are just grateful that Bob is back from all the ordeals that he went through this year in full power. And that is the most important thing here. He's here.
Back in the saddle, baby. I'd try to sing that, but I've got a cold. Wouldn't sound very good.
Zoom canceled it out for us, thankfully.
Yeah.
And listeners, you can blame Bob for the 5 episodes, though.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, wow.
No.
I mean, we probably would have done like 7 if that hadn't happened.
I know.
Well, I got the stats for that, actually. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I think it's time. Let's dig into the stats, Evan.
So as Adam said, this past year in 2023, we only reviewed 5 episodes. That's compared to 2022. How many do you think we reviewed in 2022?
14.
Very close. 12.
12.
Okay. We try to do at least a podcast a month, and we did about that this year, but we had some interviews, we had some bonus episodes, and
we had some cool extra content. 2021 had 26 episodes, though, for context. And 2020 had 23, so definitely slip in there in the episode department.
Yeah,
and special episodes are great, but that's not really the mission
Yeah, the mission is dissecting Walker episodes and getting the stats up on the website, which, again, this is a labor of love for us, and it takes us at least a day's worth of editing to do a whole episode of Roundhouse Roulette. So your support with the action figures and Patreon really help out. We're pledging at least an episode a month, and we're holding to that, and we thank you guys for hanging in there with us.
Indeed.
Don't tell them how the sausage is made, though.
No, we like to be here honest with the people here, Bob. Okay, we're just going to lay our sausages on the table and let them judge.
Oh, God.
Okay, can we get into the main categories here? What's the episode that has the highest amount of fights?
Sure. We've done 66 episodes, working on our 67th.
Yeah.
The highest number of fights is one that we're just about to do, so stay tuned and tune into us pretty soon. But the highest number of fights is still...
Is it Black Dragons?
Yeah, it's still Black Dragons with 6.
Okay.
Stay tuned, though. That number is going to change pretty dramatically.
Well, we are about to review an episode called Fight or Die, so I would hope that would top that one. So.
Yeah, for sure. Roundhouse Kicks, I think, is still...
The cult one, I think, right?
In the Name of God. Yep. But we did have one with 8 Roundhouse Kicks, Live Girls Now. That one rated pretty highly. That was a 7 on our scale, so not bad.
Our Boots to Face scale, 0 to 10.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to real quick here. I've pulled up our most listened to podcasts.
Nice.
They give us our top 10, and our number one most listened to podcast is Swan Song by far. The second most downloaded podcast is our review of Chuck Norris's movie Top Dog. Soon followed close behind by the episode Lazarus. Okay. After that, we have The Guardians.
That's our first episode, I believe.
Which, most people probably listen to the first episode of a podcast to see if they dig it. And, now we kind of cringe at that. But you got to start. You just got to get going, And Evan, you'll be happy to hear the episode Mustangs is our 5th most listened to podcast. You need to do your Santana ranking of his albums because, the Untamable Horse Santana in an episode...
I did make a promise for those of you who are, avid listeners of the podcast. I made a promise.
Yeah, the 5th most listened to podcast is the one where you promised that if someone commented on our website, you would rank all of Carlos Santana's albums. So it's been done. It's popular. You need to do the Santana ranking. That might even be its own mini-sode. Shame on you, Evan. 2024 is the year for you to get Santana-fied.
I'll say that I've started the process, and I will also say that it is a process. I believe Carlos Santana, and I'm only reviewing studio albums, not live albums and compilations.
You have to draw the line somewhere, yeah.
But he's got over 20 studio albums.
Okay, all right. Well,
prolific. And some of them, spoiler alert, real stinkers. So pretty tough.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, that kind of winds up our stats here. We just want to thank a few people quickly for their support of the podcast. I think we had a number of people buy Chuck Norris action figures off our website for Christmas presents, potentially. Awesome. And each action figure pays for a month of hosting and helps us when we need to bring in extra help for editing the podcast, that kind of thing, too. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to Lorraine in New Mexico, Riley in Indiana, Aaron in Virginia, and Allison in Washington, who ordered a Ranger Teen Camp sweatshirt.
Yes.
For her husband, who is a fan of this podcast.
Outstanding.
I can't believe these sweatshirts exist in the world. And for fans of Roundhouse Roulette here, what episode was that, Evan?
That was the episode with Anna Faris? No.
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. Close.
7 years old, and she was at Ranger Teen Camp with the Rangers, and they all had these dumpy sweatshirts, and we recreated them. And Allison was nice enough to get that for her husband, who puts up with this stupid Roundhouse Roulette podcast here. thank you guys for the support there.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. I mean, you're in rarefied company. And honestly, we can't really vouch for the quality of the drop shipped shirts that people order from our podcast, but I will say they're probably better quality than the iron-on patches that they used in the Walker prop department.
It might be higher quality than the actual show. I don't know. Send us a pic of you rocking that sweatshirt. We want to see it. And lastly here, we have a new patron, David, and we thank everybody who does that and helps us just keep the podcast going, and everyone who shares it with fans of Ridiculous TV.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy New Year, and we hope to bring you perhaps maybe even a little more Walker this year than we did last year. So
most definitely, and we'll be back soon in your podcast feed, digging into the episode Fight or Die. So stick around.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the ranger's gonna be.